Anyone who hasn't been living under a rock knows that a lot of terrible shit is going on right now. I mean, a lot of terrible shit. Our country is in shambles. Unless you watch Fox News, then everything is perfect and wonderful and great. But if you haven't been living under a rock, everybody knows that there are a lot of terrible things going on in the world. And it's fascinating to me that my family, my close family, is actually looking to me to kind of save them. And I've been preaching for several years now, survival, and the mantra of FFWSS, food, fire, water, shelter, security, just remember it, please, in every instance. And they don't have the heightened security awareness that I have, which is good. I don't want them to have that. I don't want them to have to bear that. In my life, I do threat assessment constantly. I walk down the street, I'm doing threat assessment. I walk out my door, I'm doing threat assessment. I go into Walmart, and I'm doing threat assessment. I go into Walmart, literally, and I know every entrance and exit. And I go into any place, I know every entrance and exit. And quite literally, just the other day when I was in Walmart, my youngest daughter was in there, and I don't see people. I don't recognize people. I simply am looking at humans, and humans I give an equal threat assessment. But I do a threat assessment on each human. And literally, as I'm walking down the aisle in Walmart, I simply saw her as another human. Until she said, "Hey, have you seen..." And then I recognized her and said, "Oh, hi, honey, how are you?" Until that point, I simply saw her as another human to do a threat assessment on. And I'm so glad that the rest of my family doesn't do that. But what I'm hearing back is, because all these awful things are going on in the world, not just Trump, but everything, global warming and the threat of war and all these things that are just tearing us apart. They're actually looking to me to kind of save them from those things. And I find it fascinating for several reasons. And I'm not sure I can articulate exactly why I find it fascinating. I know why I find it fascinating. I'm not sure if I can articulate why I find it fascinating. But they do. They're kind of looking to me to save them. Because I have a military background. I have an extensive military background, an unusual military background. And that's why I do threat assessment all the friggin' time anyway. I worked in special operations. My last job was, special operations, military intelligence, as a field operative. And so I look at things tactically, and I look at things, and so, I buy them things. My gifts to them over the last several years have been, here you go, sweetheart, here's a knife, which is an odd present to give to your daughter. But not only that, solar things, and, and it's always food, fire, water, shelter, security. That is the mantra. That is the mantra I preach. And I preach it to my family. And I've been doing that for several years now. And I never think that anybody actually ever listens to me. I really don't. I talk to the universe on the internet, and I try to teach and try to say things through the written word and through YouTube. But I never actually think anybody ever actually listens to me. They're kind of looking to me to save them from all the bad shit that's going on. I preach food, fire, water, shelter, security. FFWSS. Food, fire, water, shelter, security. Food, fire, water, shelter, security. Food, fire, water, shelter, security. You have to have all 5 things. And it's a mantra that I just want to get through people's heads. And honestly, I just never really think that anybody is listening. And it is such a pleasure to hear back that something I've said is actually taking hold. And it's actually working. And it fascinates me, because I just don't think anybody ever actually listens to me. And I think that all the time. I think that, and I'm speaking, I'm trying to tell you things, I'm trying to teach you, I'm trying to say things to you, and I'm saying that in the sense of all of you, I'm trying to teach all of you. And when I hear back that some of that teaching actually takes hold, and I remembered that, and I think about that now, and I never would have if you hadn't said it. It feels good. It does. It just feels good. It's good to be a teacher.